Hello everyone, this is Christian Interactive, and in this video we are going to focus on removing the dependency of Rxjs from the consumers of our animatable item, so that, for instance, in the splash screen now, we're not going to be importing anything from Rxjs. We'll create a new class that will, basically mirror the API from Rxjs that we need for our animatable item. And this gives us two benefits. One, we can change that implementation. We can use Rxjs, we can change it out without breaking the rest of our code once we're done here. And we'll also have the ability, or have easier discovery of what we're supposed to be using. So instead of having all the methods and properties that are on the Rxjs subject, we will just have those things that we want to have. So it's a lot easier to see what's going on. But we'll take care of all of that in this video. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here. So the first thing that we're going to do is add a new file to our animations folder here. New file, I'm going to call that animation-subject.ts. Alright, we'll close that up, put you over there. So the first thing we're going to do is import from Rxjs. We need the subject, and we're going to import from, and where we at, slash components slash animations slash types, and we want to get animate options. Perfect. And now we'll do our export class animation subject. So we're basically going to mimic the API that we already have in place. That way we can just change things out and do as minimal change as possible, I guess. So we'll have this little internal subject of type animation object options. Let's do a public get subject, and do I need that? Probably not. But we can get the subject then, and public, public as observable. Make that a method. So return this dot subject as observable. We are using a public complete. That's just this dot subject dot complete. And the last thing that we need is a public next, which will take in some options, do some stuff with it. This dot subject dot next. All right, so we save that. Of course, as usual, to make this as easy to use as possible here, we'll go into our index file that's in our animations folder, and we'll add what we just created to the exports. Components, animations, slash animation subject. Save that. We can actually close the index. So let's go into the animatable item, and up at the top of this thing here we have somewhere this subject. It's going to complain at me here for a second because I haven't imported yet, but animation subject. And that's actually going to come import from components slash animation slash subject. All right, so no little red marks there. You can save that. The whole point of doing all this, of course, is if we go to, say, the splash screen here. Right now the splash screen is importing subject from Rxjs, so let's get rid of that. And we'll do animation subject from here. and update this to be animation subject. So if we have done everything correctly, which of course means I have not, why is that? Has no complete. Animation subject. Has no complete. Are you kidding me? Is this just because I've been messing with stuff? Great. Thank you. No complete. Oh. Apparently I can't spell, right? Does now. Okay, so we're good to go. We're at our outlet. Same deal. Animation subject. Let's get rid of that. Subject, and no little errors there. Oof. Yeah. It's behind the times. Give it the times. All right, so just to make sure everything's still clicking along, great. Now what I want to do here is, if we look here, the most simple case is that anytime we want an animation to run, we have to provide the type. What animation do we want to go? And to do that right now, basically I have to say, create this object and specify the type property. This is not, I don't like it. Let's make it a little bit easier to deal with here. So let's go into the types. For the moment, what we're going to do, just because I know we're going to need it later on here, we'll create a new interface, animation subject options. We'll leave it empty for the moment. It's going to complain at me. And we'll come down here and just say extends animation subject options. Okay, so the point of doing that was in our animation subject here, what we were going to sort of output, what we're going to send to the subject.next is these animation options. But what we're going to take in from the user here, so the first thing that we're going to get is, to make this easier to read, and we're going to need what? Animation types here. Oops. We also need those other animation options that we created. So the next is going to take in a type to start with. Some type and maybe some options, and those some options are our new option type, so that we can not have the type also included on it. So we'll say if type of and options, if that's not equal to undefined, we'll do some stuff. After we're done, we're going to return. I forgot that the last time I was messing with this and messed the whole thing up. All right, so options should still be giving me an error here, and I'm not sure why it's not, but so what we'll do is all the thing we'll need to pass into that is the type. So basically what we're doing already. Now in this instance in which the options are not undefined, then we'll just create us an object of type and use the spread operator on the options, and we'll be good to go. So this is fine. Of course, broke a little bit. So if we go over here, all we have to do is unwrap this thing from its object. Splash screen is fine. Router outlet, we have to do similar. Take the objects off of these. Take this stuff off, and now we're back to everything good to go again. Let's make sure everything's compiled here. Just to be sure, about home. Okay, so that's all still running. And next up, the whole reason why we're doing this, well, I guess we'll talk about the reason why we're doing this. The reason why we're doing this is that we're making things more complicated than they need to be, especially in our router outlet where we care which animation is running, which one's completed. We'll do something if it was animating in, we'll do something else if it was animating out. So let's make our life a whole lot easier in this particular situation. And what we want is to be able to say or notified when a particular animation is complete. Right now, we just get a global notification through our complete binding here that an animation has completed, and it's our job, the consumer, to keep track of which, a way to keep track of which animation it is that's been completed. And there's a few ways to go about dealing with that. The way that we're going to do it is to come back to our animatable item to start with. So right now, when an animation starts, what we do is we keep track of what the type is so that we can know what to do when it's ending. But instead of keeping track of type, we're going to just keep track of the options themselves. So private, what do they call it? Options, animate options. Of course, I don't know why that bounced around. I want those options. I guess because I haven't imported it here or something. So let's import it before it complains. No. Oh. Animate options. There we go. And in here we say type and animation types dot. We'll start off with none. All right, so now instead of doing that, we just say options are equal to options. And this will just be dot options. So we're going to snag that and come down to where we got some red marks. Save that. Good to go. All right, so now back to our types in our empty interface here, and we're going to add to it. You can specify a complete method for this particular animation, and to implement that, we're in our animation item, the animation end method, and all we have to do is come down. We'll leave the other stuff alone, and we'll say if type of this dot options dot complete, if that's not equal to undefined, then invoke it. All right, so now let's make use of that in the router outlet. So the first thing we'll do in the template is just remove the need for the complete. And what we'll do here is incomplete here basically gets broken down into a couple of different methods. So let's make them. So private animation complete, and we'll do in first. So when we're done with this, we won't really care that it's animating in or animating out. We'll just care that there's an animation going on, but we'll keep it so that we know which one. So animating complete in, this is animating in is now equal to false, and this dot in animation is equal to animation types dot none, right? So that takes care of basically, this statement and this statement, right? So we've handled that and we've handled that. Okay, and now we need out. So private animation complete out. All right, so out, we're going to say this dot is animating out is equal to false. This dot is animating in is equal to true. So we did the false. Actually, I guess I didn't do the messed up. Now we've taken care of that statement there. And we need the router outlet. We'll just grab this, grab that, and come down to out. So now that's completed, and then we also need the animation. So, or which animation? This dot. Yeah. Animation subject dot next, and the one that we need to run now is the same one as this dot in animation. So it's the same one from up there, except that we also want to pass in, and we want to pass in something that I have not defined yet. So I think we can get rid of the complete method now, and we need to define. So we want the either animation complete in method to run at the right time or out to run, right? They're going to be the same ones running over and over. So let's just create some properties up here that will hold what we want to do. So we'll say private read only, and this is animation options in, and it's going to be of type that we have not brought in yet. There we go. And while I'm at it, alphabetize that. This subject options. So let's create our options. So when in is running, we want complete to point to this dot animation complete in. Perfect. And private read only animation options out. Same deal. Now we want complete to point to this dot animation complete out. Great. So all we need to do then is to use these things. So out. So all of these that are doing out. So when the animation starts, the first thing that runs is the out, and I should be this dot. So when those are done, we want the complete for out to run. Great. And we need to finish this one, which is this dot animation options complete in. Oh. Options in. Perfect. Now we save it. Now we're going to cross our fingers that I managed to do it all right this time. And if I click out, get the right animation, or click the about and get the right animation, goes to the about page. Click home, great. If you click the same one, it's still doing the fade, which is that one right there. So it looks like everything is working the way it's supposed to be working. So what we've accomplished in this video here is, of course, to remove the dependency on the consumer, so the things that are interacting with our animatable item, they no longer have to pull anything in from Rxjs. It's all coming in from our animations. So that's good. Forgot to mention the other benefit from doing that. So not only can we change whether we use Rxjs or do some method later on without breaking everything that's using it, but now if we check in the subject for Rxjs, so this subject dot, we have a whole bunch of stuff that's going on that comes in through IntelliSense for the subject for Rxjs, and the only thing that I really intend for to be used for the most part isn't, well, on a regular basis, is next. Of course, you need complete when it's done, but to hit next. So if we look in our particular case now, this dot animation subject, it's much simpler. We can see the things that we can use or expected to be used a lot more readily. I think in the next video we're going to deal with sort of moving this about. It's good to have an about page for our app, but it's probably not deserving to be in this main navigation bar down here. And we need something for our little settings cog up here to have. So let's create a little menu to hold our about link, at least to start with. So until the next video, I will talk to you later. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. I know that your time is valuable. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button, as well as share the video with your friends. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And once again, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next video.